Hey everybody, welcome back to the 30 Minutes of Fame. Today I've got another cool guest, just a cool dude that I met on the evil Twitter X, whatever you want to call it. There's just a wicked community on there. There's a lot of good. You just gotta look a little harder for it. But this is Adam, aka the People's Champ. If I had a budget, I would cue in the Rocks music right now, but I don't. Um, Alaska, park principal, outdoorsman, boxing trainer, fire starter, free thinker, rural Alaska, man. Welcome to my show. You're my first person from Alaska.
Awesome. That's an honor. I think I've been a few first person from Alaska's and man, we got great stories. We're always good for livening things up a little bit. So Alaska and Canada, man, we got a lot in common.
We got that. I'm in Alberta, so we got that big mountain range. I don't like talk about BC in between us, but not my favorite place. It's so much
Yeah.
rain. I don't know. Did you get a lot of rain in Alaska, or is it?
Well, Southeast Alaska is the same. Southeast Alaska is Northwest United States, British Columbia. It's the same thing. I lived in Sitka, Alaska for a year, and all it did was rain. Man, it rained every single day. And I left Sitka and I never went back. So Alaska is huge like Canada, right? It's got so many different, diverse places. I live in South Central Alaska now, so southern part of the states where about 90% of the population lives, and it's moderate temperate. It's nothing like the Alaska people think about, like the North Slope and all that jazz where it's frozen and polar bears.
See, my thing I think of when I think I had a cousin that was in a part of Alaska, and he was like obsessed with Diet Pepsi. And he told me that a case of Diet Pepsi cost $35 there. I don't know if that's a
Yeah.
myth or if he was messing with me.
Oh, it's probably true. So, I'm in Anchorage, Alaska, and prices are pretty similar to, a little bit higher. But rural Alaska, where I grew up, most of rural Alaska is only accessible by airplane. Most of rural Alaska is not, connected to the road system. So they get barges or, freight planes and prices are just astronomical. I mean, believe every rumor you hear, $20, gallon of milk, that all of that's true. Fuel is just it's just so expensive to get anything out there. And then cost of living is so high out there. I grew up in rural Alaska in real small towns and on gold mines. My stepdad was a gold miner, and I grew up in a cabin in the woods. No electricity, no running water. My dad mined all summer and trapped all winter, and we just kind of lived off the land. And that's a lot of Alaska. But then the trippy thing is 90% of the population in Alaska lives in Anchorage area or Fairbanks, and it's just like urban anywhere. Anchorage is a city. Anchorage is urban. The community of Mountain View in Anchorage, NPR did a story was called the most diverse, ethnically diverse community in the United States. So we've got this major urban center, and then the rest of the state is just super, super rural.
And one thing I love, man, right behind your head, we're going to talk about this, but I see you be a good human, and that's how our paths cross, I believe. Either
Yeah.
that or the 100 Club with the fitness community. But that's one thing consistent on your page is to be a good
Yeah.
human. I see that, and I repost it when I see it. But what's the story there?
Well, I mean, first off, it's a choice, and I post once in a while. I'm like, hey, I don't post this because I think I'm a good human. I post this because I'm trying. I post this for everyone that's trying. I listen to a lot of Jordan Peterson. Jordan Peterson's Canadian too, right? I listen to a lot of Jordan Peterson. I'm reading one of his books, and not everything he says I agree with. He gets pretty political on some things, but he says a lot of really interesting stuff. And there's this great thing by Jordan Peterson where he says only a dangerous man can be a good man. And that kind of blew my mind a little bit. And he talks about your shadow and like how we spend a lot of our lives trying to kill our shadow, right? Trying to kill that part of us that's dangerous. If you grew up like I did, if you grew up really rough and you got an edge, you got a shadow, and he says embrace your shadow. And he says only a dangerous man can be a good man because a weak man doesn't have a choice.
Mm.
You don't have a choice. And some of us wake up every morning and make a choice. And today I'm going to be a good man. We make a choice to walk away. We make a choice to do the right thing. Um, and so that whole framework is super interesting to me. But really, I was watching a teacher I follow on X last year, and she was talking about, people being kind to each other. And then she just kind of looks at the camera and goes, just be a good human. And it
Mm.
just hit me really hard. And so that was our motto last school year. And I've had like a motto every school year, and I've done this for 26 years. It's never resonated with our kids and our staff and our parents the way be a good human did. Like, I didn't have to push it. People just latched onto it. We got bracelets made. Like, staff got t-shirts made. Sixth grade had a Be a Good Human award every week, and they like picked a kid. Kids would come running up to me asking for the Be a Good Human bracelets. It just really resonates with people. It's become sort of a movement. And it's just trying, man. It's just trying your best. It's just trying every day, waking up and making that choice. Like, I'm gonna be a good person today. I'm gonna do good things today. And so it's just something that's resonated with me, and it's just become something that, kind of helps guide me.
You know what, man? I remember I had a teacher, I think in grade 5 or 6, and that kind of stuff will stick with kids for the rest of their life.
Mhm.
This teacher said to me, well, he said to the class, to be successful in life, you got to be as fierce as a tiger and gentle as a rose. And he had a tiger and a rose tattoo on his arm. We all thought he was a badass because he had a tattoo in
Yeah.
1986. But
hmm
that stuck with me. And like even in my work today, or like, you know what? When things happen and make you want to be fierce,
hmm
you got to look at that rose and be like, you know what? No, I just take a step back
Yeah.
and just try to be good.
And it's that yin and yang, right? It's that choice you make to be a good man. And that's why I brought up the Jordan Peterson. That's why I teach. So my first love is boxing. My grandpa was a boxer, Golden Glove boxer in the Navy, and some of my first memories are watching Mike Tyson fight, like young Mike Tyson, like fierce Mike Tyson, man. Um, and I grew up loving boxing, and I got into it. Like, boxing saved me in a lot of ways. There's no amount of pain or anger you can't get out on a heavy bag.
Mm.
Um, and so I mean, there's days I would go to the gym, and people who haven't boxed don't understand this. I go to the gym and I'm just like, man, I just need to get hit today. I don't need to hit somebody. I can hit the bag. I just need to get hit today. I need to feel that. So now I teach kids, and some people think I'm crazy, but as long as I've been doing this, I teach an after school club. I teach kids to box. And every year I pick kids, and I make sure I'm careful that they don't know I'm singling them out. But I'm like, hey, you want to learn to box? Well, come see me after school. And it's the kids that need it. Boys and girls. It's the kids that really need it, that I see it in them. And it teaches them, it's that tiger and that rose, right? If you're a weak person and you only have that, you react defensively, you react out of fear. And people who are weak and scared fight and hurt people. They hurt people bad because they don't know what to do, and they don't have that ability to be confident and to control it, and to know when to defend yourself or somebody, and know when to walk away and make that choice. And so I teach kids that. I teach them to box. I teach them all the fundamentals that I learned, the technical fundamentals. I tell them this is not, you know, sixth grade math. This is algebra. This is geometry. This is calculus. And boxing is complex. And man, kids just love it.
Mm.
And I tell you what, Dave, I have never had a kid I taught how to box get in a fight in school. I've
No.
had them defend themselves twice, genuine. And I tell people, like, this whole thing about how you have to fight, like, no, I've seen a lot of fights. You can walk away from about 98% of them. But I've never had a kid I taught how to box, and I picked some of my kids that really need it. Never had them start a fight, never had them hit somebody in school. Because once you know how to defend yourself, and once you know what you can do if you need to, you feel the need to do that less. You can laugh at somebody who's being an idiot and walk away. You don't feel the need to make a show out of it, or react out of fear. So I like that, man. I like the tiger and the rose. I kind of see some beauty in that. So thanks for sharing that.
He or when all that stuff happened in 2020 and all the gyms shut down, I got the ability to be able to train people boxing because one-on-one sessions were allowed. So when I moved to this little town, I also trained some kids, and I don't know when anyone would call me with a daughter, because my daughter's 12 now, but this lady called me, your daughter was 14 and being bullied at the high school because she was a big girl. I remember, like, really, really overweight, but she was getting bullied because of her weight. So she's like, how much to do some boxing sessions? But like, absolutely nothing. Come let her do it. So she
Yeah.
came, she did 10 with me, 10 sessions.
Nice.
And this tiny little girl was her bully, like 100 pounds soaking wet, but I don't know, it's the way sometimes it is. But
Hmm.
she said, her mom said, this girl came up to her today and said, we're going to fight after school. We're going to meet at 7-Eleven. This is after 10 sessions. And she told me this girl took a swipe at her and she just flipped back like this and dodged it. Awesome.
There you go.
She tried to right hook her. She just grabbed her wrist like this, pushed it down, put her up against the wall, and said, this is where you stop effing with me. Hasn't had a problem since. Hasn't gotten a fight.
Perfect.
Never used
That's
any of the
perfect.
shit I showed her. It's all up here, right? It's beautiful.
Mhm.
So I can really relate to that because when you, especially when you have a small kid, like a 6 or 7 year
Mhm.
old kid that hears that pop the first time when they hit that pad.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Kids love that. They love that. I love holding mitts for kids. Once they have the fundamentals down and we walk through a lot of basics, 3 or 4 sessions, and I start letting them hit mitts, man, they just light up and you feel that pop. And then, and you can watch a kid's confidence soar when they're hitting the mitts and and I'm not a small dude, and they're middle schoolers. And I step back and I go, whoa,
Yeah.
whoa, that's some power there, man. And I give them all nicknames. Eventually, I'm like, you got to earn a boxing nickname. And then I had this kid this year. Man, I'll tear up talking about him. He's this quiet kid, he's a really cool kid, laid back, real quiet kid. And when he started hitting mitts, this kid's probably 120 pounds. And he hit like he was my size. And I just stopped and I was like, I looked around, I stopped, I looked around. I'm like, he's the first one that gets a nickname, and his nickname is Hammer Hands. And the rest of the school year, man, that kid walked around. I mean, he was like 2 inches and 20 pounds bigger after that because the other kids knew his name was Hammer Hands. I had him in my office, and it's a tough kid, quiet kid. And he came to my office and he didn't want to talk. And then finally he started crying. I was like, what's wrong, man? He's like, I'm not good at anything, man. I'm not good at school. I'm failing my classes. My parents are upset with me. Everything was falling apart in this kid's life, and I've been doing this a long time and I didn't know what to say at first. I just listen. I hear him, and I'm like, all right, man, well, what's one good thing in your life, man? What's keeping you going? And I swear to God, Dave, he looks up at me and he looks me in the eye and he goes, only thing keeping me going is boxing. I was like, yeah, man, that's where it's at. That's where it's at right there.
Hey, I don't know if you've seen this, but this is the Reaper holding boxing gloves,
Yeah. Oh,
right?
I love that.
Boxing
Love
saved
that.
my life. So there's your last chance, Dave. Here's your
Yep.
gloves. Smarten the hell up, or you're not going to be here.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
a veteran did that for me as a gift. And
Oh, that's awesome.
yeah, so some people look at it funny. Oh, that's a stupid tattoo. You got the Reaper on it, but and then I'm like, oh, let me tell you about it. And I love
Yeah.
telling people about it. And
Yeah. It's
so
because
I
boxing
can
saves
relate to
people's
that,
lives.
man.
Yep.
The kids, and then my daughter works out with me, and then like I had her in the kids classes for a while, and she was loving it. And now she's doing Muay Thai. Well, she doesn't do that anymore, but just that mind fundamental, man, it's powerful stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I think about Mike Tyson, I mean, he's problematic in a lot of ways, I know, but you ever listen to him on some interviews? He says some wise shit, man. He said some stuff where I've paused and I've stopped and I've gone back and really thought about what he said. There's just so much wisdom in having gone through and lived that and having that experience. I mean, the quote everybody loves is, everyone's got a plan until they get hit in the mouth. And that's true. But the Mike Tyson quote that really resonates with me that I think about is Mike Tyson was doing an interview once and they asked him something and he goes, everybody you fight's not your enemy, and everybody who helps you is not your friend.
Mm.
Yeah. And I was like, yep, you go to battle with some of the people who love you the most, who care about you the most. And sometimes the people who stand up to you and are going to battle with you, it's because they love you. And on the other hand, man, there's a lot of snakes out there, right? There's a lot of people who will just tell you whatever you want to hear and pretend they're on your side, and those are the ones stabbing you in the back. So it's that Mike Tyson wisdom. Everybody you fight's not your enemy, and everybody who helps you is not your friend.
That's oh. That's deep, man. We have so much in common, just like the boxing, the weight loss journey, the sobriety. Let's talk about that. You've on your own
Yeah.
journey there as well.
Yeah, I'm the worst person you could probably interview about sobriety. It kind of pisses people off, and I've had to be careful. I have some family members that are going through some of those struggles, and I have to be really careful with it. And I'm not bragging when I say this. I'm really not. I try my best to be a humble person. But I drank for 25 years, and it was just what we did. Where how I grew up, and in my family and in my circles, you just drank. You drank beer. When you're younger, you go to parties, you drink, and then as an adult, everything that was ever modeled for me is, you have a couple beers or a couple cocktails every night. So my entire adult life until I was about 45, I just come home and have two or three cocktails. I didn't drink to get drunk. I wouldn't have considered myself an alcoholic, but that's what every alcoholic says, right? I'm not, that's somebody else. Uh, I never got, I'm almost embarrassed to tell people that I'm sober now, like I quit drinking because people make some assumptions right off the bat, right? Like I must have got a DUI or, you know, domestic violence charge or lost my job or something. And I wasn't ever that kind of drinker, but I knew I was addicted to it. Three or four cocktails every night, every single night. And so this is the part where I'm not the best example. Um, I was thinking for a long time, like I'm poisoning myself. I just got it in my head because I started running, working out again. Um, and doing a lot to get healthier, in my 40s. I'm like, I want to get healthier. I don't want to go downhill. And I knew the alcohol was the one thing holding me back. It was holding me back in my life and it was holding me back with my health. I woke up one morning 5 years ago, just a little over 5 years ago, in July, 5 years ago. I woke up one morning and I was like, that's it. I'm never going to drink again. And that was it. I haven't had
Wow.
a drop of alcohol since. I just woke up and said I'm done, and then I was done and I quit.
That's also like a clone of me. I'll hit 4 years, my birthday,
Nice.
even though
Congrats, man.
when I kind of quit binge drinking, I'd still get drunk on my birthday. It was my 1 year
Yeah.
to go to town. And then 4 years ago on my birthday, after my birthday was over, I'm like, that's it. I'm done. My ride's over. And I think I've had like four beers since, but they were
Yeah.
just an enjoyment beer, like a barbecue or like,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
some people say, oh, well, you can't call yourself sober. I'm like, listen, I can call myself whatever the hell
You
I
can
want.
call yourself whatever you want. If you've had four beers in 4 years, you can call yourself sober. And I found so much of it is, just we're talking about this with boxing, right? We're talking about this. You can talk about this with running. You can talk about this with everything, like everything I've done in my life. I came from nothing, and I've done some things, and everything is mental. Everything is mind over matter. And alcohol is the same way. And I realized a lot of it was social. It was mental and social. The only times I really struggled with not drinking, the only times it bothered me was going out to dinner, whether it's at a restaurant or at, somebody's house, and when I had friends over for the fights. Because I host all the like big boxing matches and, some MMA fights at my house. And so, everybody gets together and drinks beer. And I just found that having that drink in my hand, like I said, 25 years, for 25 years, I go out to dinner and I got a beer in my hand.
Hmm.
For 25 years, I have friends over and I got a beer in my hand. Um, and man, I got some great friends. My friends started bringing non-alcoholic beer without me ever saying anything, because I wasn't going to. In fact, the ones I knew, they're like, "Whoa, we don't." I'm like, bring beer. You guys drink beer. I'm not going to invite you over and tell you you can't drink beer." And so, my friend Chris started bringing all these different non-alcoholic beers. He's like, "I want you to try this one. I want you to try this one." And then one time he came over and all he had was non-alcoholic beer. I'm like, Chris, you don't have to do that, man. And he's like, no, I've been drinking non-alcoholic beer now too. I like them. I'm gonna quit too. So, just having that beer in your hand sometimes uh, gets you over the hump.
Beautiful. Now, just looking at the background, the other side of you is another really cool quote. We do dangerous things responsibly.
We do dangerous things responsibly. So I started the school I needed when I was 12. I grew up in the woods, man, and I don't think people should be put in boxes. And so why the hell do we ask kids to sit in a box all day and like listen to a teacher? If you're talking for more than 10 minutes at a kid, they're not listening to you, man. I don't care how good the kid is. And then asking them to sit in boxes all day, like what is that about? Who the hell got that idea? Like we should put these kids in boxes all day and just make them sit there and listen to some adult drone on.
Mm.
So, public education in a lot of ways sucks and it's broken. And I'm a disruptor. I'm a fire starter. I've never done anything traditionally. I've never done anything, conformist. So about 10 years ago, I started the school I needed when I was 12 for kids that are that age range. I opened our charter school here in Alaska. Charter schools are public schools, so we're still part of the public school system. I opened a charter school to do project-based learning, so everything's hands-on and integrated, like it is in the real world. Like also, why do we do subjects in these separate little boxes? Like we got to keep math over here and language arts over here. That's not how anything works. All those things are blended together in everything we do. So we do project-based learning and we take kids outside. One of the things that's sad that I found in urban Alaska, urban Alaskan kids might as well be in Los Angeles. They don't go outside. What I get routinely from our kids when they come to us in sixth grade is never been on a bike, never been in the woods. We take all of our kids hiking. We take them up to this place called Arctic Valley, and it's a beautiful hike. Over and over and over, so many of those kids tell me, I've never been hiking. It's Alaska, but they live in the city, and we intentionally serve a lot of our diverse and low income families. And so, I wanted to have for kids what I needed and I had, which is the ability to do hands-on things, to learn the way we're meant to learn, and to go outside. So, we do dangerous things responsibly. We go outside every day. We're fire starters. It's a long answer to we do dangerous things responsibly. We teach kids to go outside and to explore and enjoy this place we live and develop that sense of place. If you spend time outdoors and in your community, you love the outdoors, you love your community, and then you're going to take care of it. And then you're going to learn what the word stewardship means, even if I don't say the word to you, and instead of trashing this place or not caring about this place, you're going to grow up and be somebody who takes care of their community and the people around them and our outdoor spaces.
That's amazing, man. I love it. Like I
Good.
know my daughter had a teacher in grade 5 and 6. They have this big, beautiful hill in the back of the schoolyard with this wicked view of the mountains. So every Friday for the last 2 hours of the day, he'd take the kids there and do class there. And it's
That's it.
so it's a little bit of what you were doing
Yeah,
in that school.
that's it.
And
That's it.
then
That's what we do.
yeah, it's I can relate to so much. I gotta ask you, with the name the People's Champ and that on your, have you ever gotten an angry letter from the Rocks people saying, "Hey,
Not yet, not yet. I did for some reason every class of kids that comes in is different, and for some reason that I don't understand, this last year's class of sixth graders I had just thought I was a rock star, man. I would go out on the playground and they'd be like, they'd be all excited to see me. I don't know why, because there's been classes like whole classes of kids. They're like, that guy's a principal. I can't stand him. So you never know. So I had this really cool kid. His dad is from New Zealand, and his dad looked like The Rock, man. His dad's like twice my size. This big dude. And this kid, he comes up to me and he goes, Mr. M, I just want you to know sixth graders are taking bets on who'd win in a fight with you and John Cena.
ah."
Right? I mean, what? I just laughed. I just laughed at him, and I'm like, yeah, that's all right, man. That's cool. I'm like, who do you got? And he looked at me like I was stupid. I go, who do you got? And he looks at me and he goes, you, of course.
Nice.
So, kids are awesome, man. Kids will fill your bucket. So no, I haven't no letters yet from the Rocks people, and I haven't heard yet back from John Cena if he's gonna come and put on a little show. Me and him are gonna settle this bet in front of my middle schoolers, but we'll see.
You know what? He followed me like 3 years ago. I know he follows a
Yeah, he
lot.
follows me. Isn't that
So
awesome?
of course, I sent him a message just like, "Hey, big butter," and I'm thinking to myself, maybe he did respond, and I just haven't seen it. You never know.
Well, if you get him on the show, tell him, hey, there's a principal in Alaska and his kids think that he could take you. So see if we can get him up here.
I don't know, man. So there's this. Been a huge wrestling fan my whole life, and I reached out. I'm not going to say their name, but I reached out to one of my favorite wrestlers that followed me back. And I'm like, hey, would you ever have like 30 minutes just to come shoot the shit with me? He's been out
Yeah.
of wrestling 20 years. And he was like, I'll have my people call you. And I get this email back, $250 they want it for a
Oh,
episode. And I'm like, dude,
come on, man.
like I don't have it. But instead of him, I got the people's champ here.
Yeah. I ain't charging you, man. This is all free.
All right, man. I got one more question for you, but if people want to find you, send me whatever links you want. We'll put it down there.
All
People
right.
want to learn more about the school and that kind of thing. We'll send a little traffic your way. I'm For some reason I just got a spike of audience views from the Philippines, so who knows? I don't know.
Nice.
I never know who's watching. I don't know.
It's the connection with The Rock, man. They heard us talking about The Rock and John Cena, and they popped on. They're like, what's this guy talking about?
One of these days I can do it. For some reason, I can do a really good impersonation of Stone Cold Steve Austin. I might get that out someday. We'll have to see. The- After a 10-hour workday and two podcasts, I'm almost starting to sound like him.
Yeah.
All right, man. One more question for you. We'll call this a show. A a 100-meter pigeon carrying contest. How many pigeons could you fit in your arms? They're tame pigeons. They're not harmed in any way. Go away, PETA. Um, how many could you fit in your arms and have left in your arms at the end of the 100-meter race?
How many pigeons could I carry in a 100-meter race? Well, do I get to ball them up real tight or are their wings flapping all over?
No, they're calm. They're tame.
They're
They're just,
calm, they're balled up.
yeah.
I think you would run out of space in your arms because a pigeon's probably a pound. They're little guys. Um, I think you'd run out of space to hold them before they got too heavy to carry. So I'm gonna go 14. I'm gonna go
14. That'll put
14.
you in about eighth place out of 130 episodes. So that's pretty good. You're in like the top 10.
I'm going 14 pigeons if I want to.
14 pigeons, everyone. Mark that down. Um, I always end my shows with say one nice thing to someone every day of this year. It can change someone's life, but you're watching this, just be a good human. Reach
Just
out
be a good
to
human.
the people's chat champ, and I appreciate you counting on me, man. That was awesome.
All right, man. Be a good human. Thanks for having me on, Dave.